This is what happens when a nuclear bomb is detonated in space, as U.S. officials fear a strike from North Korea as tensions reach boiling point. Former CIA Director James Woolsey voiced his fears earlier this week over an attack from the Secret of State, amid concerns North Korea could be gearing up to conduct its sixth nuclear test. Relations are at a historically low point between the U.S. and North Korea, with both Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un engaging in a war of words. There are fears the brutal dictator is trying to develop a nuke capable of reaching the U.S., and a series of man-made islands which have appeared in the Yellow Sea equipped with military facilities are another worrying sign. But with air technology limited, it was theorized North Korea may strike a much easier target, space, with the fallout enough to potentially cripple parts of the U.S. and their army. Last month Mr. Woolsey claimed it is a threat being taken seriously by the U.S. He said, "The really dangerous thing is that they can both orbit satellites, they've orbited several, and use nuclear weapons. And if they detonate a weapon up some miles above the Earth in a satellite, they can knock out a major share of our electric grid. It's much harder to hit a city than it is to detonate something in space that's just put in a satellite. So we are not talking about some gigantic project, just detonating a nuclear weapon in a satellite in orbit, in low Earth orbit. They're closer to doing that than they are to being able to hit a target in the United States. You're going to have to worry about, especially with the North Koreans and the Iranians, you're going to have to worry about electromagnetic pulses that they would produce, knocking out our electric grid. And we didn't have to worry about that in previous wars." As fears escalate, unclassified documents from the Cold War reveal the U.S. detonated a nuclear bomb in the atmosphere themselves to see what would happen. At the height of their rivalry with Russia, on July 9, 1962, the U.S. launched Operation Starfish Prime. With an explosive yield of 1.45 megatons, approximately 100 times that of the Hiroshima bomb, which was around 13 kilotons, it was expected to give the U.S. a tip-off on what they could expect if the USSR decided to send a bomb into space. Starfish Prime was part of a series of high-altitude tests, and the effects were felt for thousands of miles. The explosion took place 400 kilometers above the Johnston Atoll, roughly 900 miles southwest of Hawaii, above the northern Pacific Ocean. It was also aimed at testing how the Earth's radiation belts, known as the Van Allen belts, would react. The resulting fallout from the bomb caused a temporary alteration in the shape of the belts, and a faux aurora borealis was seen across the Pacific Ocean, from Hawaii to New Zealand. Crucial to the test was how far-reaching was the impact of the electromagnetic pulse, EMP. It was reported the Hawaiian island of Oahu received a power surge that knocked out numerous electric devices, but it was during a time when there was less technology and less systems critically dependent on the infrastructure, and in an area which was less built up than cities such as New York. And reports claim that one-third of the satellites in lower orbit were damaged by the artificial radiation belt which was created and the EMPs, which could have devastating consequences today, as there were only a fraction of satellites during the 1960s when compared to today. The U.S. conducted its last nuclear test in 1992, after the fall of the Soviet Empire, and there has been debate over the use of nukes ever since, but the current situation with North Korea has thrust them into the spotlight once again. The Hermit Kingdom conducted a failed missile test in flagrant fireguard of international sanctions in recent weeks, which has elicited swift retribution from Mr. Trump, who promptly sent warships to the Korean peninsula. The Commander-in-Chief has deployed the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier group alongside the USS Michigan, nuclear-powered submarine in North Korean waters. It was joined by Japanese warships in a show of strength against the despot. Kim Jong-un retaliated by threatening to hurl the U.S. submarines into underwater ghosts. Pyongyang's propaganda website Uriman Zakari said, "The moment the USS Michigan tries to budge even a little, it will be doomed to face the miserable fate of becoming an underwater ghost without being able to come to the surface."